And thank you very much for staying with us here on The Pulse. Now, the chairman of Parliament's Transport Committee is backing the AG's report exonerating former DVLA boss Justice Amegashi in the DVLA Photo X inflated contract saga. Now, officials of the Driver and Vehicle Licensing Authority and its former chief executives, Justice Amegashi and Rudolph Berkeley, last year appeared before the committee during a probe into the authority's contract with Photo X. In 2012, the DVLA entered into a 10-year contract with Photo X to print driver's license. Disparities in the contract sum and other issues have stalled the implementation of the contract. But Mr. Amegashi at the committee sitting admitted that he erred in signing the contract. Well, my colleague Jennifer Kwama has been studying that report and joins me in the studio with details of this. So, how exactly does this particular report exonerate Photo X and the former chief executive of DVLA?
Well, what the Attorney General's report is also recommending is that because of the gray area concerning the second contract between Photo X and DVLA, where they were supposed to invest or reinvest a certain amount of money into it, and it ended up being inflated to the 9.9 million US dollars. That contract wasn't actually finalized, officially finalized between the two of them. So, in essence, that excess money, which is now in contention, was, according to the report or according to the paperwork, not even official, wasn't even officially paid. That's why the Attorney General is now saying that DVLA should make sure that all that excess money should just be recovered from Photo X, and Justice Amegashi is completely in the clear. He did not act negligently. And
I'm curious to know what exactly the AG found out that convinced her that the individuals had no guilt in this. Because I remember when this story first broke, there were suggestions. In fact, he himself admitted before the committee that he signed a contract that he actually didn't read, of course, and et cetera, et cetera. So, I mean, reading the document, do you see anything in there that sort of points to, I guess, specific findings that Attorney General had made, contrary to what IOCO had found that exonerated the two of them?
Well, according to the Attorney General, from their recommendations and their report, it's because of the unsteady status of the second contract. You know, with the first contract, everything was in black and white. They were to invest a little over 2.7 million US dollars. It'll be split between 20%, and they would recoup their investment over time. However, they only had a statement of understanding between them for the second contract, which wasn't finalized. And that was why when it came to the distribution or the reinvestment of the 9.9 million US dollars, that's where, you know, all these issues of fraud and the rest came in. So that's why the AG was able to say, okay, look, you weren't able to finalize the second contract to begin with. Therefore, that agreement is null and void. So the money which was invested or paid back to Photo X should simply be recovered.
So DVLA must do the recovery?
They must do the recovery from Photo X. In essence, Photo X must pay that money back to DVLA.
But nobody's going to be prosecuted because the AG didn't find the culpability.
No.
Thank you very much, JJ, for that. And you're still listening to, watching The Pulse here on the Joy News channel. My name is Evans Mensah. And today, the biggest story of the day has been that press conference that we understand is still underway here in the Greater Accra region, being addressed by workers of the public utilities who are complaining, and in fact have issued a 7-day ultimatum to the PURC to withdraw a directive they've given to the ECG for the ECG to suspend its meters, its software, its billing software that, of course, the PRC had said he had established through investigations was responsible for overbilling. And we'll return to that story once we have more coming out of that press conference, which is still live now here in Accra. Now, boat owners in the EG area, where 15 people were killed after a boat capsized, are accusing government of neglect. Now, the Security Council issued directives following last week's accident that included strict use of life jackets before passengers are allowed on the boats. Now, Joy News has obtained footage that shows that some travelers are violating that directive to use the life jackets as the Security Council meeting gets underway to deal with the dangers. The boat owners say government agencies tasked with safety are failing to deliver on their mandate. Now, here's a national chairman of the Boat Owners Union, Yusuf Apia Apetobo.
We are putting ourselves in by insuring our boats and passengers at the same time. But we met a lot of insurance companies who can even insure our life and property. But there is no insurance company who is ready to insure the boats and the passengers as I speak to you now. Sometimes when we met them, they always demanding on the fishing canoes and the fishermen, but not rather the commercial vessel. That is the only problem that we are facing. But we are ready to insure our boats and the passengers at the same time as life is concerned. You know, sometimes a lot of people deny to wear the life jacket, while we have some of the life jackets on board. So when you ask them to wear life jacket, they say, I know swimming, so don't worry me about my life. So sometimes there is no fault from us. It came from the passengers themselves, because the last week, a week yesterday, when the accident occurred, the boat has about 150 life jackets on board, but they refuse to wear it. So whom you ask? When you force them, they even nearly to insult you, because I know swimming, so don't disturb me to wear a life jacket. So now working with a Navy, so it will be assist on Navy to let the passengers to wear before you board the boat. So we don't have problems not to wear the life jacket, because we know life jacket can save your life. We are not working lonely, because we work with Ghana Maritime Authority at the same time, the Navy. And every station that we have Navy commanders and Navy personnel supervisors. So at times there are some news which is fraud or which is not true about boat operators, while the Navy can also be an evidence with us. So sometimes they may see before the boat starts. So the moment we took off, then they remove the life jackets into the boat. That is the problem. So now we all find solution to solve that matter and save people's lives. Because of this not having this life jacket, under my leadership, we wrote our petition to the Ministry of Transport, to the Ghana Maritime Authority, to assist the passengers a life jacket, even if to sell will be by a moderate price, so that we can also have payment of the passengers. But when you write your petition, nobody cares. But when incidents occur, then opinion leaders are rushing you, as you don't know what you are doing. So the thing will happen, or the accident will happen before you know the position that the people is holding. But when the incident doesn't occur and you are telling them, they don't even know whom you are. And they don't even recognize you that you are a person to talk to them, to listen your voice. So with nobody to blame the boat owners, because we are playing our part. But the officials, they are not listening our voice and do what we deserve to do for us. That is the only problem. Our first step concerning life jackets. We went now, Ghana, we have no company like the Zoom Lion company. They are the only supplier of this life jacket. So when we went to their office, I went personally to their office. They told me that they can't work with the boat operators or with the fishermen until they work with a regional coordinator. Before we. And I've also told them the regional coordinators don't know what we are facing on the lake. So why not to give us the life jacket ourselves rather the regional coordinators? So I should go round to the regional coordinators if they agree with me before we can. I can't do that. Sometimes the life jacket will occur with the regional coordinators, which they will not even call out to come for the life jacket. So we Ghanaians always need the illness before we go for a hospital. So when everything happens, an issue happens like this, a lot of people may say what they want to say. But we are finding our solution before it's too late, but nobody.
We can go live now to the area and speak to Daniel Techi, a reporter with a Live FM in Yeji. He joins us on the telephone line right now. Daniel, it's interesting what we're just hearing about passengers simply refusing to wear these life jackets. There have been meetings today, I understand, in the area trying to deal with this. What are we learning from these meetings?
Well, good afternoon to your listeners. In fact, the Boat Owners Association, together with the District Security Council and the District District Director, Coordinating Director, and the DCE met today around 11:30, and the meeting lasted for about 3 hours. In fact, the meeting really started before I got there, but the little I gathered from the meeting was the Security Council is insisting that the boat owners should make sure they get some insurance package for their passengers, and also make sure they get life jackets for their passengers, because it becomes pathetic. It's becoming pathetic on traveling on the lake. And if such is the case, it means the boat owners don't care about the passengers. Therefore, there is the need they make sure that they have life jackets for the various passengers who board this boat. Luckily for us, I have with me here the secretary to the Boat Owners Association, John Pelly, the local secretary. They are directly dealing with the passengers, and I want him to tell us what their weaknesses are and as to whether what the district security has made it known to them, they are ready to comply with. Mr. John Pelly, you're welcome to join us.
Thank you very much.
You've been in a crucial meeting today. The accidents that have been happening on our lake. What can you really tell us about the outcome of your meeting?
Yeah, first of all, I want to greet all the listeners of Joy News. The meeting was a successful one, of course. Some of the issues we discussed today was about the life jacket. It was agreed that the district assembly is going to provide life jackets to the boat owners. And also, the Neva team, who is also here at Lakeside, will make sure that all passengers that board boat put on their life jacket before the boat takes off.
Is that agreed upon? Because they have been hula balloons as to whether the life jackets are available, and really whether you are also ready to make sure you provide those life jackets. So has that been really agreed upon, that until somebody goes on to travel on the lake, the person have a life jacket on?
Yes, it has been approved, because the coordinating director made us aware that the district assembly is going to do everything possible to provide a lot of life jackets to we the boat owners. And the Neva team must also make sure that every passenger put it on before the boat takes off.
They have an issue of insurance package for the passengers. What do you make out of it, and are you really ready to do that?
Of course, we are ready. Last week, we met the constituency MP, Honorable Dr. Komradonko, and this is one of the issues that we discussed. Personally, I suggested to him that the Boat Owners Association want to send a delegation to Accra. In addition to him, so that we can go and meet the marine insurance company. Then we can negotiate and see the way forward, where they can come down, meet the boat owners, so that we see the process where we can go to make sure that all the boats here are being covered by insurance. So he also agreed to that and promised that he will be seeing the national insurance company leader, so that he will discuss this with him first before he asks we, the boat owners, to follow up to Accra. So I think it's a successful one, of course. We are putting this in plan so that all of us will be insured.
So how long do you think this is going to take place?
We have a meeting next week with the DISEC and the MP. We have a meeting just next week. And after the meeting, the delegation will be on their way to Accra.
Can you assure us that starting from today, anyone at all that travels on the lake will be provided with life jackets?
Sure. Today, I went there to check on my boat this afternoon, and everybody on my boat are with life jackets. If you don't have the life jacket, then you get out of the boat.
Is this going to be a 9-day wonder, or it will continue unabated?
It will continue unabated.
This happens to be the secretary, the local secretary with the Boat Owners Association, John Pelly, speaking to Joy News.
Very much, Daniel Techi there with the very latest from the EAG area. Now, a former chief director of the Electoral Commission, Damwa Ajiman, has warned EC officials to take a cue from the Kenyan protests if we are to avoid violence before and during our own polls later this year. According to him, the grievances expressed by the opposition protesters are similar to that of the Kenyans and may likely influence the decision of the opposition party in Ghana. At least one protester, we believe, has died and 5 have been injured after Kenyan police opened fire to disperse crowds in the western city of Kisumu. As reported by the BBC on Sunday, Nairobi Police Chief Japheth Kume said police were prepared to use lethal force if necessary after a Kenyan court had ruled the planned protest was illegal. According Court Alliance, led by former Prime Minister Raila Odinga, wants the current members of the Electoral Commission to resign ahead of next year's presidential election. He says the commission is biased and in favor of the governing Jubilee coalition and wants it replaced by a neutral body. Join us on the phone right now is a former chief director of the Electoral Commission. He joins us on the telephone line right now. Thank you very much, Mr. Ajiman, for your time here on the polls. We're watching there's very disturbing developments unfold in Kenya, and you can't help but, you know, shudder at the thought of it happening and repeating itself here in Ghana. We recall Kenya in circumstances similar to what we're just witnessing, and it went down a path of bloodshed. I'm just wondering, Ms. Ajiman, from what we're seeing in Kenya right now, the suggestion is that we should take a cue from that, but are the circumstances the same?
What is it?
Hello, Ms. Ajiman, can you hear me?
Yeah, I hear you. Now speak.
Great. I'm just referring to what we are witnessing in Kenya, where the riots and the reports you're hearing of a possible shooting and killing of one person, and the protesters are angry at the composition of the Electoral Commission with concerns about bias, etc. Some watch that and say, because you're also going to election, this should serve as a warning for us. But
you are talking about the Kenyan riot.
yes, but
Yeah.
are the circumstances the same for us?
Yeah, it should be a wake-up call for us. You see, election is about the emotions, the feelings, and the finances of interested parties. Trust is very necessary, very key to a successful election conduct. Remember, since I think from 2014, the aborted district assembly elections and all that. First, 2012, there was a court case. 2014, just waiting for a law to mature. We were a country lost over 300 million cedis. All these things have eroded the confidence the public have in the commission. So it is very necessary for the commission to redeem that image and have the confidence of the public to conduct any credible election. If, for instance, like the Kenya one, they say the opposition have lost confidence in the Electoral Commission, they will go on a rampage, and that will bring chaos to the country. Here, we haven't got to that point yet, but we are not far from it. Look at even the Supreme Court directive to the Commission to do certain things. Then you sit somewhere and say your own interpretation of whatever the process is. So it's just putting your own interpretation into legal issues and so on. Mm-hmm. We have to play by the rules, not sentiment. So this is the fear that we entertain, that if we don't take care, we cannot be just tweeting around that we are a peaceful country. Nobody is peaceful. It's only when you don't want to show that you are wild that people say you are a gentleman.
But our local electoral commission has indicated several times that they are willing to introduce the reforms. In fact, they have started part of the processes. We just finished the registration exercise. They've said in reaction to the Supreme Court that they respect the Supreme Court's verdict. Some may say we are far from that, and that can never happen under jurisdiction with the current, I guess, legal regime that we have.
My brother, we are talking about getting ready. We We are now in June. They talk about bringing the election backwards from December to November. So we are limiting the time. At this crucial moment, we don't have a credible register which has been certified. And the register is the key document for conducting election. If we haven't got a satisfactory register, which will be acceptable by all stakeholders, then what are you doing?
But we have time, don't we? We have more than 5 months to go.
We don't. We don't have time. We just completed the limited registration. They haven't done the exhibition yet. And then this directive from the Supreme Court, they haven't come out to say how they are implementing it. And if you talk to only IPAC, fine. They are representing interest groups. But if the general public is not aware of what you are doing, and the parties to get disgruntled that what you are doing is not in consonance with the law, that is where the trouble starts.
But isn't it enough that the Electoral Commission itself, Mr. Ajiman, isn't it enough that the Electoral Commission itself has expressed a commitment to produce a clean, credible register?
Yes, commitment. Based on what? The performance over the years show that you are really going down, down, down. You see? And instead of redeeming your image, you talk about rebranding. Rebranding into what? This symbol that we just spend money to bring out, what has it achieved? We want efficient and effective staff and administration, not just mere symbols and whatever. Are we practicing voodoo or what? What is it?
Right.
That symbol, what does it signify? Does it show you anything? When you see it, what does it signify? Nothing. Not an Adinkra symbol, nothing of the sort. It doesn't portray anything to the Electoral Commission, aside of the name being written under it, Electoral Commission. Do something credible for we to see that you are now doing the things according to law. And then the respect for your integrity will come. Right now, you see, there's a whole lot of perception. And you know, perception is as important as a reality. So if you just behave as if you don't care about the concerns or the comments from the general public, how then do we take you serious? You are doing nothing to redeem the image. And the image is key, just like the Kenyan one. They don't trust the commission. So they are now rioting. We will sit here, the register is being updated. We are doing this and so. And when we are getting to the wee hour, you come and show me the same old register. And you think Ghanaians, they are so peaceful, so nothing will happen. And that is their slogan. Okay. Hello?
If you look on our pages on Facebook, on social media, there's a lot of conversation happening surrounding what we're seeing happening in Kenya right now. They've just been talking about Owusu Pounds telling Hussein, he says, I think the EC should handle its work to the opposition because they want to show that they know the work more than them. From day one till now, MPP and other political parties are still on the next Ghana. Gilbert Asylum says, from Bagatanga says, the Ghanaian EC should respect the supreme law of the land, the constitution. When dealing with issues relating to the upcoming elections, it should be left alone to perform its independent function as enshrined in the national constitution. Stephen says the EC should always consider the views of all Ghanaians first before coming out with any policy. Supremacy from sitting government should not interfere in the affairs of the EC. And the final one from Sam Cook says, I can bet it is that, well, of course, he has some unpalatable words for one of my colleagues there. Michael says, since 1992, elections have been held and people have chosen to die because of it. And if anyone wants to die, he or she can carry on. That's Michael's view on that conversation and what is happening in Kenya and its relevance to us.